guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad that you took a little bit of time out of your day to spend a little bit with me, and let's talk about whiskey. So, do store picks really matter? That's the question that I want to start working on with the new series here. Today we're going to look at John J. Bowman single barrels. Is it worth hunting this stuff? So a lot of times, some of you may know, a store pick or a barrel select, any of those different titles that they use, means that a individual or a group decided that this is the flavor profile that they're going for. Whereas with a shelfer or a non-store pick version of the same varietal, and it's all the same mash bill, it's all the same stuff, that one is either found to be consistent with what they're looking for as a brand, or sometimes blended. These are single barrels, so these aren't blended. You know, the way that they come is the way that they are, but the ones that are unique a little bit, sometimes they'll put off in another group and allow people to come in and pick those. And that gives an opportunity for different stores or barrel groups or say YouTube channels to go through and say, hey, you know what, this is kind of unique. I like what this is offering, and so I'm gonna pick this one. Today I picked up over at Top Shelf Liquors in Berkeley Springs. I went over today and picked up their new store pick for John J. Bowman. And so I love John J. Bowman. To me, it is not as hyped as what it should be for what it is. I think that this is a great Blanton's alternative. And so the thing with John J. Bowman is, the way that I understand it, if I'm wrong, please go into the comments and correct me. But the way that I understand it is it's distilled twice. So you get your low wine and then your high wine at Buffalo Trace Distilleries, and then it's shipped over to Virginia, where John J. Bowman, with a Bowman distillery is, also owned by Sazerac. And it's distilled the third time and aged completely in Virginia. I usually get a lot of notes off from this that are like apples, or sometimes I get a little bit of grape, but they're usually consistent with what I find in Buffalo Trace products. So I really love this bottle. This is the bottle that I send to people or gift people if they come over and they're kind of new into the bourbon world. Like, hey, I really like Blanton's, I'm looking for that Blanton's. So, well, let's try this. It's at a higher proof. This one is bottled at 100 proof versus Blanton's, which is bottled, I think, 93 proof. And I just think that it's a fantastic bourbon. So I want to crack this one open with you guys today and sample it against a John J. Bowman that I have open. Now this hasn't been open for very long. I've only taken a couple pours out of this, so I know, you know, they say neck pour and all that stuff. Listen, I'm not buying into that. I'm just gonna open these up. You know, this has only been open, like I said, for a little while, and we're gonna do some pours and we're gonna try these against each other. So let's see what we get. Oh, a great cork pop, right? That was fantastic. So this is the regular shelfer. I'm gonna go ahead and put you off screen there. And this is the new Greedy Reedy. This is barrel number 95 store pick. So this wasn't too bad all in all with what they're asking for it. $79. I'm usually able to find, oh, sorry about that. I'm usually able to find the John J. Bowman single barrels at right around $50, $54, something like that, because out of Virginia, which is close to where I live, I can go down to the ABC and pick them up there. And if not, over in Maryland, you can usually find them there fairly easily, you know, considering what they are. Oh, I had to work for that one. Another great cork pop. We're 2 for 2 for cork pops today. Hey, that's a win. All right. Just so I don't get confused with these, I'm gonna grab a couple markers and we're gonna say number 1 is the store pick and number 3 is the shelfer. So I'm just gonna let these breathe for a little while. I wanna know though in the comments, have you guys tried John J. Bowman, and what do you think? And have any of you compared that against Blanton's to see, you know, if you're seeing some of the same notes? I'm really interested to see that. So let's start with the shelfer on the nose. So I'm getting some of that apple, right? So it's definitely got some apple in there. It doesn't have a super powerful nose. It's kind of light. It's almost like, I mean, it's almost like an Irish whiskey nose to me. So I get some caramel in there too, and that brown sugar smell. Overall, it's pleasant. It's nothing that's gonna, you know, rewrite the history books of bourbon or anything like that, but it is all in all, just a good, crushable, everyday drinker. Let's see how that compares to this shelfer. Now, I've never smelled this. You guys saw me just open it, so. Okay, so the nose is different on this. It's a little bit more intense. The apple's not there so much, but I am getting more of that classic bourbon smell. So when I say classic bourbon smell, I'm talking about a little vanilla in there, caramel, some sugar, some sweetness. I'm not sure if it's a brown sugar yet, or if it's just like, you know, like a rock candy type sugar, but there's something in there that's a little bit different. Overall, pleasant nose too. Boy, I'd almost have to give the nose a slight edge on the nose over to the store pick, but let's see if that transfers over to the palate. I'm going to start first with the shelfer. Okay, so at 100 proof, it's deceptively strong. Not strong, I'm not talking about strong in like ethanol or alcohol, I'm saying intense. I get a lot of apple in that, and I get sugar in it. I get almost like a sweet candy sugar, and so that's like some of the flavors that I find that's consistent with Buffalo Trace products too. It's pleasant. The finish isn't super long on it, and of course it has to do with being 100 proof, so you're not going to get those long dragged out finishes like you'd get with a cask strength, but it's so crushable. This is like something that you could sit here, be shooting the breeze with your buddies and just sip on this all night long and not complain. This is just very crushable, and that's why this is a bottle that I gift to friends often. I'm gonna have another sip. I'm gonna go back in again. Okay, so I got a little bit more oak on that drink. It was a little bit bigger of a drink too, but it's like a rock candy sugar that I'm getting off this, and I'm getting apple, and the finish is it's not super long, not super intense, but it's there. Now the initial drink, I get a nice strong intense flavor, and it's, again, I just think it's so crushable. Good job, John J. Bowman, you've done well. All right, as I put that off to the side, I'm just gonna let my palate clear here for a second and get ready to dive into this store pick. So Top Shelf Liquor is, I mean, it's a decent little store up in Berkeley Springs. They pretty much put out what they get. It's a good little stop. So if you're ever over in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, stop over and check them out. Let's get into their store pick. Cheers. Okay, that's off profile for for John J. Bowman. At least I find it to be a little off profile. Now I'll get into another sip here. I don't want to cast too strong of a vert. It's nice. It's just not what I usually find with John J. Bowman, and that's what you'll find sometimes with store picks. They're barrels that maybe the master distillers have sampled, and they said, yeah, this just isn't along the lines of what we generally have for our single barrels. So they go ahead and they offer those out to individuals to come and purchase, or groups to come and purchase as barrel selects. It's pleasant. It's good. I want to get into have another drink because I got a lot of oak on that one. The mouth feel on that was fantastic. It had a lot of viscosity with it, which was nice. And that nose I'm starting to like a little bit more as I get into it more. Yeah, so with the store pick, I'm getting butterscotch notes, which is unusual for John J. Bowman for me. And I'm getting more oak than what I was with the shelfer. Now, even the shelfers will vary sometimes. So you'll get, mileage may vary with those as well. And sometimes you'll get slight deviations with what their norm is, or what I see their norm to be. But they're usually fairly consistent. With this, I get a little bit more of the oak with it, and I'm getting a strong butterscotch sweetness. Very pleasant. So finish on this was short as well, so it didn't carry on that long like if you're drinking like a stag or something like that, right? So that's not a real fair comparison. But when you get some really intense flavors, sometimes that finish will pull through a little longer. With this, I'm not getting a long finish in either one of these. I will say with this, I'm glad that I bought this store pick, because the flavor profile is slightly different than what the norm is, and it offers a little bit of an opportunity to see what John J. Bowman's capable of, producing flavors that aren't grapes and apples and candies, to get a little more of that butterscotch and oak on it. So at this time, I'd say, yeah, the store pick was worth it. I'm glad I went out. It was $79 for that. So it's like a $30 premium what I'm getting a normal bottle for. But I definitely think that it was interesting enough that I'm glad that I got it. So I'd like to hear some of your views on store picks versus shelfers. Are they worth it? I'm gonna do a few more bottles in this. I've got some blends that I'm gonna try. I've got some Weller Full Proof, a few other things like that where I'm gonna compare it to see what the store pick is versus a shelfer. I'm even gonna do like a Sazerac Rye. Boy, it sounds like all I'm doing right now is Buffalo Trace products, but I happen to have a lot of Buffalo Trace store picks. So as the series goes on, we're going to see overall if we think that there's enough of a difference or an interest in that, make it worth going out and hunting those. I got a feeling it will be. I happen to like a lot of the store picks. So it sounds like we've got a lot of Buffalo Trace products that we're going to be looking at together. So if you're interested in that, please stop back and join me. Either way, thank you so much for stopping. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do that for me. I'm just starting this channel out, and I want to see it grow and develop and take this trip with y'all and have a good time and maybe learn from you and maybe have you learn from me. So if that sounds like fun, hit that like, share, and subscribe, and let's keep this thing going. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me.